Good morning, I'm Pauline Verzosa. It is Tuesday, the 17th of March, and we're bringing you Morning Matters because your mornings matter. And now first on the agenda, several oil companies are implementing staggered fuel price increases this week starting today, March 17. Among them, Petron and Flying V will raise prices over 3 days from March 17 to 19, while Shell will also implement a 3-day adjustment. Total and Sea Oil, meanwhile, will apply their increases over 2 days from March 17 to 18. And based on company advisories, diesel prices will rise up by 23 pesos and 90 centavos per liter, gasoline up to 16 pesos and 60 cents, and kerosene by as much as 8 pesos and 90 centavos. The increases come amid ongoing tensions in the Middle East, which continue to affect global oil prices. Long lines formed at gas stations last night as drivers rushed to top off their tanks ahead of another major oil price hike. Many others are also finding ways to cut fuel expenses, turning to motorcycles, bicycles, and even electric scooters. Here's that report.
Drivers lined up at gas stations for last-minute fill-ups ahead of another major oil price hike. Among them is Clint Vince Regular, who used to drive his wife to work. To cut expenses, he's now using a motorcycle instead of a car.
Nung naka 4 wheels ako, 1,000 parang sa isang ko lang, 3 araw lang atang 1,000 eh. Kaya ngayon sa motor, yung full tank ko na 500, 400, maabot rin ng 2 linggo.
Others are also looking for alternative ways to commute. Some are turning to electric scooters, which are becoming increasingly popular. At this shop, stocks have already sold out after a surge of buyers this week. Most of them whom plan to use scooters for their daily commute to work.
Sa electric scooter, yung pinaka-best seller namin na which is 30,000. Kapag full charge mo yon, ang isang mako-consume mo sa Meralco bill mo is per full charge nasa 7 to 9 pesos lang. Pero yung range na matatakbo nun, up to 60 kilometers na yun. So, ganun siya katipid.
Meanwhile, Hilario, who normally rides a motorcycle to work at the University of the Philippines, has decided to return to biking to save money and stay active.
Mahal yung gas talaga. Kaya balik na lang sa bike. Kahit papaano makatipid-tipid. Maganda rin sa para sa katawan.
We also spotted motorist M.M. Bautista buying diesel in a gallon container. He said he chose to walk to the gas station, explaining that bringing out their vehicle would only use up more fuel.
Di pa pupultang yung L300 namin eh. Parang pang-1 lang, ikakarga na namin mamaya yan, tapos babalik namin.
And now for a closer look at the situation at gasoline stations this Tuesday morning, let's bring in our mobile journalist Francis Rivera, who is reporting live from Parañaque City. Francis, kamusta na ang presyo ng gasolina dyan?
Good morning, Pauline. Talagang sumipa na nga kanina pang alas 6 ng umaga yung presyo ng mga gasolina dito sa isang gasoline station na kinakatayuan natin. At ngayon naglalaro na yung presyo sa 97 ang per liter sa diesel at naglalaro na rin sa 80 pesos yung per liter nitong mga gasoline na gas. At ngayon, nakausap natin yung ilang TNVS rider at sabi nga nila, medyo masakit sa bulsa yung talagang bugso o yung pangalawang batch ng pagtaas nitong presyo ng mga petrolyo, lalo't hindi pa sila nakakapag-adjust mula doon sa last week na pagtaas. At ngayon nga araw, yung iba sa kanila, doon sa mga nakausap natin, parang half day na lang yung tinatakbo nila. Kumbaga, sa isang araw, kalahating araw na lamang yung pinabiyahe nila dahil nga hindi na raw talaga or wala na raw natitira sa kanila dahil nga sa taas ng presyo ng gasolina ngayon. Pauline?
And Francis, dyan sa particular gas station na yan, yung staggering ng kanilang price increase, mangyayari ba yan in a span of 2 days or 3 days?
Yes, Pauline, yung nakausap natin, yung isa sa mga admin dito sa gasoline station na to. At yung mag-a-adjust pa nga raw sila within that 2 to 3 days at pag-iisipan pa raw nila kasi kino-consider pa rin daw nila yung mga motorista kung meron pa bang magpapagas sa kanila, kung tuluyang pagsisipa itong presyo ng petrolyo, ano. At ngayon yung ayon sa kanila talagang pag-iisipan muna daw nila kung within 2 to 3 days talagang magtataas pa rin sila.
Kasi magiging malaking tulong din yan sa mga motorista, Francis, ano? Pero kung magtataas nga, it looks like ang diesel, for that matter, will go above 100 pesos. Kasi sabi mo nga, ngayon pa lang 97 na siya. But napansin ko, Francis, sa likuran mo, parang may ilan pa rin nagpapakarga ng gas. So, meron pa rin naman. Tama ba?
Yes, yes, Pauline. Actually, kanina yung pagdating natin dito, medyo may kahabaan din talaga yung pila at most of them ay mga TNVS at mga gumagamit ng motorsiklo at iilan lamang yung nakikita nating yung mga nagpapagas na kotse or four wheels. Kaya sa mga nakikita natin, talagang yung iba pa nagsiswitch na rin sa paggamit ng motorsiklo dahil una malit ang malit lamang yung gasang neto, so medyo nakakaluwag doon sa pagkonsumo nila ng gasolina unlike sa four wheels. At yun yung na-obserbahan natin dito sa gasoline station na kinakatayuan natin ngayon. So karamihan talaga sa kanila motorsiklo.
And Francis, meron bang ini-implement na limit para sa mga pwedeng bilhin na gasolina ng mga motorista o wala naman?
So for Pauline, dito sa gas station na to, wala pa naman, hindi pa naman sila naglilimit. At tinanong ko yung admin kanina kung kamusta ba yung supply ng gasolina nila or diesel at okay pa naman daw. Kaya hindi pa sila magka-cut or hindi pa sila magkakaroon ng limit o limitation para doon sa mga motorista na nais magpa-full-tank or kung ano yung desire nilang presyo na i-add sa kanilang mga sasakyan.
So marami na talagang motoristang umaaray, Francis, naghihigpit ng sinturon. Doon sa mga nakausap mo, ano-ano ba yung mga ways nila para makatipid ngayon na napakataas na ng presyo ng fuel?
Yes, Pauline, isa nga dun yung nakwento natin kanina, yung ilang mga TNPS rider, nagka-cat trip na kumbaga dahil ngayong umaga sila babiyahe pero mamayang tanghali, pahinga muna dahil nga hindi na babawi yung kinikita nila dahil nga dito sa taas presyo ng mga petrolyo, no? Kaya yung iba ay magpapagas ngayong umaga, babiyahe, tapos after that, magpapahinga daw muna sila at yung iba nga kinabukasan na. Pero yung iba naman, talagang tuloy-tuloy lang daw yung pagtatrabaho or yung pag-deliver nila ng mga goods, no? Dahil dito rin sila kumukuha kahit kakaunti yung nakukuha nilang kita from dun sa ginagawa nila at dahil nga sa mahal ng crude, talagang tis na lang daw talaga ang ginagawa nila at higpit sinturon.
Alright, maraming salamat para sa update na yan. That was mobile journalist Francis Rivera reporting live from Parañaque City. Well, transport group Piston is set to launch a nationwide transport strike and protest on Thursday, March 19. The group is calling for a 5 peso minimum fare hike for jeepneys, the scrapping of the oil deregulation law, and the removal of value-added and excise taxes on fuel. In response, the LTFRB says it will hold a dialogue with Piston to avert the strikes. Meanwhile, Energy Secretary Sharon Garin said the government does not expect fuel rationing as current supply levels remain sufficient. She also added that alternative suppliers are ready to meet the country's fuel needs.
We are quite positive about the incoming supply, and for the next month, I don't think we will come to that level because I do think that there's enough supply all over the world, and right now we have enough supply in the Philippines already. We have enough up to April, and we're expecting more deliveries by April.
Don't go away. We will be back with more stories right after this break. Keep it here. Good morning and welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Vice President Sara Duterte is asking the House of Representatives to dismiss the 2 impeachment complaints filed against her. More details in this report.
In a 15-page response or answer ad cautelam, Vice President Sara Duterte is asking the House of Representatives to dismiss the 2 impeachment complaints filed against her. According to her legal team, the complaints are no different from the articles of impeachment filed in 2025, which the Supreme Court earlier declared unconstitutional. The camp also argues that the impeachment proceedings violate the president's right to due process. They also claim there was a double standard in the handling of impeachment complaints against President Bongbong Marcos compared to the complaints filed against the Vice President.
We raised due process issues because of what we feel sa aming pananaw ay hindi naging uniform yung standards ng pagdetermine ng sufficiency in form and substance doon sa naging impeachment complaints laban sa ating Pangulo at impeachment complaints laban sa ating dalawang Pangulo.
The Vice President's legal team also claims the complaints do not present so-called ultimate facts. They say because of this, they have nothing specific to respond to.
Sinasabi lang natin na wala pong naging ultimate facts, yung mga nilalaman ng complaints. Hindi po naglalaman ng ultimate facts yung mga complaints na naihain laban sa Vice Presidente. Kaya po sa totoo lang, wala tayong maisasagot sa kanila.
POA has not said whether they will elevate the issue to the Supreme Court. Meanwhile, the House Justice Committee has yet to release an official statement. But one of its members, Bicol Saro Party List Representative Tere Redon, says the Vice President's response failed to directly address the allegations against her. Redon added that instead of responding directly to the charges, the Vice President's camp tried to challenge the impeachment process itself, based on what he described a confusing interpretation of due process and ultimate facts. Redon maintains that the complaints and supporting documents clearly present the necessary ultimate facts, including allegations related to the alleged misuse of confidential funds, threats against the President, the First Lady, and a former House Speaker, as well as unexplained wealth and alleged violations of the Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth requirements. The House Justice Committee is set to meet again on Wednesday. Committee Chair Jervil Luistro earlier said complainants will have 3 days to respond to the Vice President's answer, and the Vice President will then have another 3 days to file a rejoinder. The committee is targeting April 8 to reconvene and discuss whether the impeachment complaints are sufficient in grounds.
Vice President Sara Duterte's approval and trust ratings remain higher than President Bongbong Marcos's, but the gap is narrowing. In the latest Pulse Asia survey, her approval rating stands at 55% this March, down from 59% last year. Meanwhile, President Marcos's approval rating is 36%, up 11 points from 25% in 2025. Trust ratings show a similar trend for both leaders. Marcos rose 10 points to 35%, while Vice President Sara Duterte dropped 7 points to 54%. Now do stay tuned. We still have more matters to discuss right after this break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. Ayuda from the Social Welfare Department is being distributed today, March 17, to tricycle drivers affected by rising fuel prices. And now let's check the situation on the ground with our mobile journalist, Arles de los Santos, who joins us from Taguig. Arles, good morning. Kamusta na ba ang distribution dyan?
Pauline, magandang umaga. So far, tuloy-tuloy naman ang distribusyon ng ayuda o yung cash aid nga para sa mga kapatid nating motorcycle drivers, no? O yung mga tricycle drivers actually, no? At dito so far, makikita natin sa loob, medyo mahirap lang pumasok yung camera, no? Pero tuloy-tuloy naman yung pagpasok at paglabas nila dahil nga doon sa listahan na ibinigay na sa local CSWDO, no, beforehand, nagiging mabilis na nga yung pag-distribute nito at kailangan lamang nilang ipresenta yung photocopy ng kanilang ID na meron nga nilang pirma, no, and then automatically check na lang sa record and then ibibigay na yung cash aid sa kanila, no. Sa buong bansa, Pulina, ay gagawin din yung kaparehas na payout kung saan nga magkakaroon din ito sa Makati, sa Valenzuela, sa Pateros at Mandaluyong, no, dahil nga ito daw yung tinitignan nga na paraan para kahit papaano maagapan yung pasakit sa taas ng presyo ng petrolyo sa buong Pilipinas, partikular kasi na tinatamaan nito, Denise, no, yung hindi bababa sa 139,000 na tricycle drivers sa buong Pilipinas. Kaya itong one-time payout na ito, no, mula sa DSWD, they're hoping nga na magagamit ng ating mga kapatid na tricycle driver. Nakarinig tayo kanina na ikinagagalak nila na maaga daw isinagawa yung payout ng sa gayon ay makakabiyahe na raw sila. Yung iba, kung dati daw na nasa 12 hours silang babiyahe, ngayon baka daw 3 hours na lang. Kasi nga malaking tulong daw yung magiging pera na natanggap nila para nga sa panggasolina nila sa araw-araw. Lalo pa ngayon, Denise, ay simula rin, no, ng big time oil price hike kung saan naabot nga ng humigit kumulang 20 piso din yung itataas at hanggang 94 pesos to 114 pesos na yung inaasahan na magiging halaga ng kada litro ng presyo ng diesel sa ating merkado.
So Arles, sabi mo nga about 139,000 tricycle drivers ang makikinabang dito sa payout na ito. Unang tranche pa lang yan na ibibigay ng DSWD. Susunod na rin yung ibang nating mga kapatid sa transport sector. Pero dyan sa Taguig, halos ilan ba yung makakatanggap ng cash assistance na yan? And will they be receiving this 5,000 pesos in cash?
Yes, Denise, no, Pauline rather, no, in cash yung kanila natatanggap. Hindi pa natin nakukuha yung exact numbers, but at least ito yung mga patuloy na lumalabas dito, no. Yan mga tricycle drivers yan sila, and then dito din kasi as in dire-diretso lang yung payout dito, and then yung iba may dalang mga tricycle doon mismo sa labas ng area na ito, no, and then napaka-smooth sailing naman so far. In cash, lahat ng pera na natatanggap dito, and as we can see naman, hassle-free, and kailangan lang siguro part ng program na magkakaroon sila ng photo opportunity after nila matanggap yung payout.
And you did mention also, Arles, this is just a one-time payout for the meantime. Hanggang kailan ba ang distribution today? Hanggang today lamang ba yan or throughout the week yung pagbigay sa mga tricycle drivers?
Throughout the week ang mangyayari na distribution nito, Pauline, no, kasi narinig natin mismo sa Transport Secretary at sa DSWD, no, na hindi raw nila pwedeng pagsabay-sabayin na bigyan lahat yung mga tricycle drivers ng isang bagsakan kasi daw ang mangyayari baka mapilay yung ating transport sector na walang masasakyan yung ating mga kapatid na mga commuter patungo sa kanilang mga trabaho at papasok ng paaralan, kaya parang by-batch din yung mangyayari and nabigayan, and buong linggo natin inaasahan na mangyayari ito. But Paulina, kaiba pa to ito doon sa tinatawag nga, no, na subsidy pa doon sa mga tsuper ng jeep mismo, no? Kasi may tinatrabaho pa tayo na cancel or suspension at special powers na ibibigay nga kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos para mapababa yung presyo ng mga produktong petrolyo na ayon sa mga motorista at syempre sa ating mga kapatid na tsuper, mas makatutulong daw in long term sa kanilang mga pagpapasada, lalo pa hindi lang naman daw ito yung una at huling beses na magkakaroon ng pagtaas ng presyo ng produkto ng petrolyo. They're actually looking for a long-term decision or action ng pamahalaan. No? Kasama niya dyan syempre yung pagrepaso at posible nga daw kung maaari na pagbasura sa all the regulation law kung saan nakadepende sa mga oil companies yung presyo ng produktong petrolyo dahil itinatakda ng all the regulation law ang free market sa ating merkado.
So nilinaw nga rin yan, Arles, ni Asek Irene Dumlao dito no, sa programa natin na iba pa yung fuel subsidy program na ibibigay ng Transportation Department. Ang 5,000 pesos ngayon ay under yan ng AIX program kasi
AIX,
considered na rin bilang individuals in crisis ang ating mga kapatid nga na nasa transport sector. Pero dun sa mga nakausap mong, Arles, na tricycle drivers, paano daw ba nila balak pagkasyahin itong 5,000 pesos subsidy given that mukhang tataas pa rin nga in the coming weeks ang presyo ng gasolina?
Pulin, simulan natin doon sa kanilang pag-aray sa labis na daw na presyo ng produktong petrolyo. No? Yung ilan ay pinapahayag yung kanilang pagkadismaya sa pamahalaan dahil nakukulangan sila sa tugon nito. No? Kasi parang napaka-import dependent daw natin. So kung tataas yung presyo ng petrolyo sa labas ng bansa, diretso na maapektuhan tayo. No? Which is actually kahapon sa kasama yan sa inamin naman no, ni DOE Secretary Sharon Garin na import dependent ang Pilipinas pagdating sa petrolyo, na kung saan nga for the last year yung kinuha natin na diesel sa China ay nasa 25% ng buong stock ng ating bansa. No? So ngayon na nagkakaroon ng paghigpit doon sa pag-i-export ng China at ng iba pang mga bansa para masiguro yung kanilang sufficiency, no? At syempre yung stock at yung supply doon sa kanilang nasasakupan ay medyo in a way napipilayan nga yung ating pamahalaan at syempre yung ating mga kapatid na motorista at commuter, no? And ang kanilang mga plano, Pulin, syempre yung iba parang aaraw-arawin daw nila na parang full tank, and then kung hanggang saan naabot bago mag full tank ulit. Yung ilan naman parang babudgetin muna na per ride kung hanggang saan naabot yung 200 pesos, and then babiyahe ulit para mag-gas ulit, no? Yung iba naman in a way gagamitin din daw sa pangangailangan ng kanilang mga pamilya, pero tuloy ang pagbiyahe. They're hoping nga syempre na bukod pa dito sa subsidy o ayuda na kanilang matatanggap, kumakonsider daw ng pamahalaan na magtaas ng pamasahe sa tricycle na ngayon ay nasa 13 pesos, kasabay and kaparehas halos, Pulin, ng pamasahe sa jeep na ang alam natin magkakaroon din ng announcement ng pagtaas ng presyo nito.
All right, well, thank you very much for all those updates. That was mobile journalist Arles de los Santos reporting to us live from Taguig. Typewriters may seem like relics of the past, but in Quiapo, one craftsman is keeping these vintage machines alive, restoring them piece by piece for collectors and customers from around the world. The details in this report by mobile journalist Fatima Baduria.
May typewriter din ba kayo mula kay lolo o lola na hindi na gumagana? May nag-aayos pa niyan dito sa Quiapo, Maynila. Within Comandante Street in Quiapo, Manila stands one of the last typewriter shops in the country. This is the work of Gerald de la Cruz. While his humble shop is quiet, his business remains very much alive. Over the years, restoring typewriters have become Gerald's expertise and led him to earning the trust of his customer base, something he takes pride in. Gerald says vintage collectors often visit or buy from him online.
Bihira na talagang gumagawa nito. Saka wala naman sa school kasi ito. Yung ba, sa vocational, wala. Ano lang to, matututo ka by experience lang.
These typewriters may be old, but antiquity is precisely what makes them more valuable. This has drawn Gerald to collect rare typewriters. Among his collection are models that type in cursive, Japanese, and even Arabic. According to him, the oldest model he has restored to good working condition is a typewriter from 1886, which came from a customer in the United States. His most expensive work was even priced at 100,000 pesos for a rare typewriter from 1915.
Mas masalimuot gawin eh. Maraming iba-iba yung posisyon. Hindi kagaya ng mga moderno ngayon, mga 80s na pataas. Parang mga simple na lang. Hindi kagaya ng mga luma talaga. May maraming sekreto. Saka makakapal yung pesa, kaya ang tibay.
Because it can be difficult to find replacement for typewriter parts, Gerald sources from junk. Some people may say that typewriters are seeing its last days, but Gerald continues to persevere in his life's work and has no plans to pursue other jobs.
Ay, minsan may nagsabi, may bumibili pa ba yan? Minsan napigan ako, sabi ko, pag namatay ka, gagamitin yung typewriter sa pangalan mo eh. Hanggang ngayon naman, mga funeraria, yung iba, typewriter pa rin. Yung parang inaalipos na pa yung luma na yan, high-tech na ngayon, di ba? Yung iba kasi ganung tao, hindi nila appreciate yung mga luma.
As he revitalizes typewriters, these old machines also give life to his family. Gerald says this is where his motivation comes from.
Nakakabuhay, saka may nag-aaral pang dalawa eh. Tatlo pala yung graduate na eh. Itong talagang bubuhay ng pamilya ko.
Kapatid Fatima Baduria, we are One News.
Well, don't go away. We will be back with more stories right after this break. Keep it here. Good morning and welcome back. I'm Pauline Verzosa, and here on Morning Matters, we talk about the most pressing issues and we give you the context behind the headlines. A drone attack hit a hotel inside Baghdad's highly secured green zone, but Iraqi authorities say no injuries or major damage were reported. Security sources said the drone struck the Al Rashid Hotel near government buildings and the U.S. Embassy. Iraq's Interior Ministry said the drone hit the hotel's upper fence, and it condemned any attempt to target diplomatic facilities. Earlier reports also said 2 Katyusha rockets were fired toward the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. The incident comes as the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran enters its 3rd week, with U.S. President Donald Trump urging allies to help protect shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, which is a key global oil route. The Philippine Embassy in Abu Dhabi has confirmed that 2 Filipinos were arrested in the United Arab Emirates for allegedly posting videos of recent missile attacks in the region. Families of the detained nationals have been informed and are receiving regular updates and support. The embassy has also provided legal assistance and requested permission for consular visits, which are pending approval from UAE authorities. Officials reminded all Filipinos in the UAE to strictly follow local laws regarding the creation, posting, and sharing of online content, including AI-generated material, amid the ongoing regional tensions. Well, joining us this morning is His Excellency Alfonso A. Ver, the Ambassador of the Philippines to the United Arab Emirates. Good morning, Ambassador, and thank you so much for being here on the program.
Good morning, Pauline. Thank you for this opportunity.
Okay, Ambassador, let's take off on the 2 Filipinos who were reportedly arrested over their social media post. Can you give us the latest update on their condition and what's their status as of this moment?
It's 4:30 a.m. here, no? So my last actions on this matter was around yesterday afternoon. The relatives, one of the those arrested, she has a relative here, cousin, and also in other parts of the world. So we had a like a group chat, but we had a live meeting with the cousins here at the office with our legal retainer. For the other party, we were able to talk to the husband. So we were apprising them, and as an advance to the request for our visit, we sent 2 staff of the migrant workers office, and they were confirmed to be at that location, at the detention center, and they were okay. And in fact, Saturday evening, the cousins of one of the detainees, they were able to talk to her and visit her, and they were okay. So right today, we will look at the possibility of an actual visit by our lawyer and get more information.
Well, speaking of more information, Ambassador, do you know what the nature of the video that they posted was? And how serious is the offense that they committed under UAE law?
Yes, as a backgrounder, no, for the government instituted these new regulations to maintain stability and security, and in fact, even before that, UAE already has strict laws on posting. You just can't post anything or take a photo of somebody and post it without permission. But it's been made more, it's stricter now and more urgent because of the situation. So I understand one of the videos is a actual video of an incoming drone. I was shown, but the actual video allegedly, but I also deleted it because sharing it is also an offense. So kinabahan din ako doon. Ano. And then the other one is showed a view of the general area where a drone had just landed, something like that. So this is not an AI generated video; it is an actual video. So there were many arrests made, like over 35 last Sunday.
So these two Filipinos are just among the 35 that committed a similar offense. But Ambassador, what kind of legal assistance will the embassy be providing to our two kababayans? And could the penalties possibly be reduced po kaya if it is shown that there was no malicious intent in posting these videos?
Of course, that's what we're looking at because it's a new law, it's a new regulation. Right now, technically, there's a mandatory 7-day investigation. So hopefully, if there's a chance, we can have them released. So, but it carries a 1-year detention and a fine of 100,000 dirhams. That's around 1.6 million. So we're looking at yesterday we were discussing that it's how the defense could be because it's a new regulation that's imposed vis-a-vis the security situation here. No? So
Well, that's good to hear,
Yes.
Ambassador. But let's go to the situation on the ground. Well, we're now entering the third week of the war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. But tensions continue to escalate until this day, and we did hear reports that the IRGC has vowed imminent strikes on U.S. industries in the region. And can you confirm, Ambassador, that the UAE has closed its airspace just recently?
Yeah, that was just an hour ago, Pauline. I just saw the breaking news on my phone when I was logging on, and it's actually I found it on X that for security and safety, I was surprised myself that today there's a temporary and full closure of the airport of the airspace. No, it was a surprise to me also because last night there was a commercial flight from Emirates Airlines, a regular commercial flight, which were able to include 38 Filipinos. And actually, we're planning for another special repatriation flight, hopefully tomorrow. If you may recall, we had a special charter flight paid for by the government last Friday night, which arrived Sunday. And we're planning for another one tomorrow. And with the regular commercial flights, we've been trying to book seats in those flights for some of our repatriates, together with all the others, are booking, the return flights, those who were stranded here. So that was just an hour ago. Now we have to check how this will play out in our plans, in our repatriation plans.
But as we know, Ambassador, there are thousands of OFWs in the UAE alone. How much of them have requested repatriation, or are majority still refusing to come back home despite the ongoing tensions?
Yes, we just say there's almost 1 million Filipinos here in the UAE, and of course there's guarded optimism, but many have emailed us, reached out to us, contacted us, just saying where they are, their names, their family members, just in case it escalates. But now there's no large demand yet for a massive repatriation or something like that. No, like in the last flight last Sunday, we had 400. It was a full plane, 442, and tomorrow hopefully another 300. But situations here is still safe and stable. There's no like massive call for repatriation. There's no massive layoffs. Food supply is okay. So people are still monitoring with the guarded optimism, and hopefully this is finally settled. There's also breaking news that there's also direct contact already between Iran and Israel through their diplomatic channels, or I'm also trying to verify that now.
What would you say, Ambassador, is the main factor in influencing this decision of majority of our OFWs there in the UAE to remain in the country despite the conflict? Is it does it have something to do also with the fear of losing their jobs if umuwi po sila dito sa Pilipinas?
Well, that's one, of course, no? But one compelling reason maybe is because they feel safe and secure here. You know, UAE has received the most number of missiles, drones, and projectiles. No? Almost 2,000. That's more than all the countries combined, more than Israel itself. But the UAE defense, air defense system has been so effective. They've intercepted over 90% of those, and business continues, and we get the proper alerts well ahead of time, and we're able to secure ourselves. And it's I don't like to say business as usual, but life goes on as if the best possible way that we can.
So Filipinos still feel secure. They say the situation is stable. But Ambassador, we are also hearing reports that they actually feel the impact economically in terms of their jobs. The impact of the conflict, they say, affects companies. Sabi nila they are experiencing layoffs already. Some companies are cutting salaries in half, especially in the tourism and hospitality sectors. How widespread is that, Ambassador, and how is this affecting our OFWs there?
Yes, of course, because in fact many cancellations have occurred, but there are no. If, for example, I understand I was not here, but during COVID, there were people were put on leave and given temporary salaries, but there's no report yet of massive layoffs or massive furloughs or like that. So, but we're continuing to monitor the situation here.
So, Ambassador, if this conflict widens further in the Gulf region and continues to escalate, under what circumstances would prompt the Philippine government to recommend a mandatory evacuation of the millions of Filipinos who are there in the UAE?
Well, first of all, we're hopeful that this news that the contact has been made through diplomatic channels, and Eid al-Fitr is approaching, in the next 2 days. So hopefully there's a ceasefire, and but we have prepared contingency plans. We're ready, and as long as we maintain our lines of communication, and the community here continue to be vigilant also, and listen only to official information and not to panic, and we will be ready for any eventuality.
Well, let's talk about the oil supply, Ambassador, because here in the Philippines, we are really feeling the impact of that. Ang presyo ng diesel, umabot na po sa higit 100 pesos. And we do know that the UAE is one of the major oil suppliers in the Middle East. It's the second biggest next to Saudi Arabia, if I'm not mistaken. Are there any ongoing discussions? Are you part of them, Ambassador, in ensuring that supply remains stable and steady here in the Philippines?
With that issue, the biggest factor is the Hormuz Strait, where, as they say, 20 or even more, larger percent of oil passes from this region and to the other countries. And technically, it's closed now, and I think because of the threats. But that is one thing that we should look out for, or maybe looking for alternative routes and looking for alternative sources altogether. So we can ensure, I think other countries, the US, are tapping their oil reserves. China and everyone, they have huge oil reserves, and we're just hoping that the Hormuz Strait will eventually be secure for and not be part of the conflict, to allow that. It's been said that not to use the Hormuz Strait hostage in this conflict now. So, but in the meantime, the effects are real, and we're hoping that there are other alternative sources and alternative routes from which oil can be sent to the other countries.
And finally, Ambassador, what would your message be to the Filipinos in the UAE as well as their families? And maybe a message as well to our kababayans there on the responsible use of social media, especially amid the regional tensions happening.
Yes, actually, we issued a new advisory. We've been issuing advisories, and for the safety of everyone, first of all, manaligo tayo dito. We are safe, we are confident with the protection of the UAE government and its effective defense system. Yung panawagan ho namin na makinig lang po sa official na mga sources, sa embassy, sa mga official news outlets dito sa UAE, sa Ministry of Interior, for example. At wag na po tayo mag-post ng mga kung ano-ano pa po, dahil nakakadagdag pa ho yan sa kaba. Tsaka may security issue din dyan, baka nagagamit as an intelligence source yung mga napopost nyo kasi. So, let's all continue to be vigilant, yung stay safe in our shelter, in our houses kung may madinig tayong alerts, and let's hope for the best. Manaligo tayo na ginagawa na lahat ng paraan ng ibang bansa para matapos na itong sigalot na ito.
Well, Ambassador, I know it's very early in the morning there. It's 4 a.m., but thank you very much for taking the time to share all those updates. And do keep safe. That was His Excellency Alfonso A. Ver, the Ambassador of the Philippines to the United Arab Emirates.
Thank you.
Do stay tuned. Morning Matters will be back after this short break. Welcome back. You're still watching Morning Matters here on One News. President Bongbong Marcos attended a distribution of cash relief for drivers in Santa Mesa, Manila. And for more updates, we have our mobile journalist, Julie Baiza, reporting live from Malacanang. Julie, kamusta na ang distribution ngayong umaga?
Yes, Pauline, katatapos-tapos nga lang nung pagbisita ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos at personal pagtunghay nga doon sa ginawang cash distribution sa Santa Mesa, Manila, no? Yung naging distribution, Pauline, maayos naman yung naging flow. From 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. ang magiging payout dyan sa Santa Mesa, inaasahang nasa 1,200 na tricycle drivers yung mabibigyan ng 5,000 peso cash assistance ngayong araw. Ilan sa mga nakausap natin, Pauline, sinabi nga nila na napakalaking tulong daw talaga para sa kanila nung ibibigay na 5,000 piso, no? Pero hindi raw lahat yan sa fuel o sa gasolina mailalaan. Marami sa kanila sa pagkain. Bibili daw ng bigas para hindi na kailangan intindihin pa yung kakain nila sa mga susunod na araw kahit na daw humina pa yung kanilang kita. Aminado kasi yung mga driver na talagang malaking dagok sa kanila yung pagtaas ng gasolina. Yung isa sa mga nakausap natin, sabi niya, from 5 liters na naikakarga niya, 1 liter na lang daw ngayon at 7 ikot na lang daw doon sa kanyang ruta yung nagagawa niyan. Kaya yung nagiging take-home pay niya, kumbaga, o nagiging kita, nasa 200 pesos na lang kung ikukumpara dati na nasa 800 pesos. May paalala din po ng DSWD kasi may mga lumalabas din kanina na may sinisingil na processing fee para dyan sa mga gustong makakuha or sa mga beneficiaries ng cash assistance. Ang sabi ng DSWD, walang mga processing fee na hihingin sa kanila at lahat pwede daw makinabang dyan. Hindi daw kailangan matakot na mapolitika or baka hindi sila isama sa listahan ng mga LGU nila. Basta meron ka daw license to operate, maaari kang pumunta sa inyong LGU para sabihin na hindi kayo naisama sa listahan. Ngayon, ang dinadala naman ng mga driver para makuha yung kanilang cash assistance ay kopya lamang ng kanilang driver's license. Karaniwan din toda-toda na or grupo-grupo na silang nagpupunta dyan. Pauline.
Julie, may naging mensahe ba si President Bongbong Marcos doon sa pagsipa pa rin ng presyo ng langis?
Yes, Pauline, tiniyak nga ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos na patuloy pa rin daw nilang binabantayan yung sitwasyon o development nga sa krisis sa Middle East. Aminado nga ang Pangulo na kinailangan ng magbigay ngayon ng cash assistance kasi patuloy daw talaga yung pagtaas ng presyo ng produktong petrolyo. Hindi naman daw titigilan ng pamahalaan yung pagbabantay at yung pagbibigay ng tulong sa mga kababayan natin. In fact, after nga nitong mga tricycle drivers, kasunod naman yung mga jeepney at TNBS driver. Inuna lang daw sila dahil una, sila yung pinaka-apektado. Pangalawa, meron na rin kasing listahan sa LGU na available na at madali nang maikakasa itong cash distribution for them.
Okay, maraming salamat para sa report na yan. That was mobile journalist Julie Baiza reporting live from Malacanang. Meantime, the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board, or LTFRB, is holding a press conference on fare increases for jeepneys and buses amid rising oil prices. And for the details, let's go to our mobile journalist, Amy Atienza, who is also reporting to us live. Okay, Amy, ano na ba ang latest? Magkano ang itataas ng presyo ng pamasahe? Amy, sorry, we can't hear you, so let's check your audio and try to unmute. Check natin yan ulit.
Pauline?
There you go. Go ahead, Amy.
Yes, Pauline, naganon siya na nga itong LTFRB ng price increase para sa fares para sa mga public utility vehicles, kabilang mga dyan yung sa traditional jeepneys kung saan merong 13 pesos to 14 pesos increase. Bukod pa dyan, syempre, kabilang din yung sa modern utility jeepneys kung saan nakita na 15 pesos to 17 pesos increase. Yung iba pa nga na pag-usapan dito, Pauline, ay kung permanent nga daw ba itong magiging pagbabago sa fare hike at sinasabi naman nitong LTFRB na kinikita nila if magiging permanent na ito dahil so far ang naging factor din dito ay yung consideration nila sa 75 pesos to 80 pesos per liter na presyo ng produktong petrolyo. So aasahan natin na magkakaroon nga ng mga measures at patakaran itong LTFRB para maisaayos itong fare hike. At yun nga, napapag-usapan na rin dito, Pauline, kanina yung mga nasabi rin ng iba't ibang transport groups kung saan nakikita nila, Pauline, na essential itong fare hike at magiging malaking tulong na nga rin daw ito despite the fact na may ilan tayong transport groups na 5 pesos increase ang hinihiling. So magiging effective ito, Pauline, by Thursday, March 19.
So ito nga nakita ko rin, Amy, so tumaas by about 8% dun sa traditional jeepneys from 13, 14 pesos na ngayon. Para naman sa mga modern jeepneys, 13% ang itinaas, 15 pesos ngayon, 17 pesos na yung bagong base fare. Pero Amy, as we know, nag-anunsyo din ang piston ng transport strike ngayong March 19. Ano ba ang magiging tugon din daw ng Transportation Department dyan?
Pauline, Mariin na dinidiin din dito no ng LTFRB syempre ay ito nga measures na kinakailangan nila. Of course, very important din daw kasi yung factors din talaga na na-consider nila para nga dito sa fare hike. Una na nga dyan, tulad na nasabi ko kanina, ay ito nga pagtaas nga ng presyo ng produktong petrolyo kung saan umabot na nga ng around 100 pesos. Yung iba nasa 90 to 100 pesos yung range ngayong linggo. Ang naging konsiderasyon din dito sa fare hike, ayun nga naging presyo din last week. So ang nakikita nila, if in case lang din daw na bumaba ang presyo naman ng produktong petrolyo in the next few months, no, ay baka magkaroon din ng immediate action for the provisional reduction of fare sa mga public utility vehicles. Ang nasabi din dito no at dinidiin din ng LTFRB ay hindi lang kasi itong na ibibigay no na subsidy ngayong araw ang kanilang gagawin dahil may hiwalay na fuel subsidy na ibibigay din itong Department of Transportation kasama ang LTFRB para nga matulungan din yung ibang mga drivers no ng tricycle, jeepneys, maging buses from metro to provincial. So yan yung nakikita pa lang nila and ayun nga magkakaroon pa rin daw sila ng discussions in case nga may mga concerns pa regarding this fare hike and regarding the price of petroleum products in the country.
Okay, maraming salamat para sa update na yan. That was mobile journalist Amy Atienza. Now shifting gears to sports, Filipina tennis star Alex Ayala has climbed into the top 30 of the WTA rankings for the first time in her career. The 20-year-old moved up 3 spots to world number 29 ahead of her return to the Miami Open, where she made a breakthrough semifinal run last year. Ayala will open her campaign against the winner between Laura Siegmund and Petra Marcinko. Meanwhile, in the Premier Volleyball League, Creamline looks to strengthen its bid for a top 4 spot when it faces the Farm Fresh Foxies in the All-Filipino Conference. The Cool Smashers currently hold a 5-2 record as the race for the final qualifying slots intensifies. And that wraps up today's episode of Morning Matters. We hope we've given you just the right start to your morning. Let's make the day matter. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Kapatid, we are one news, all sides, all the time.